Cherie, welcome to the Priceless Beauties podcast. I'm so excited to have you on here today. You are a friend of mine, a sonless sister. We've worked together for many years. We've taught together. We've spoken together. We've created lots of Instagram dances together. And I've just loved being a part of your community. And I've learned so much from you, your spray tan technique, your scientific mind. I love that. The amazing way that you spray for your dance and cheer. So many things I just love. So I wanted you to just come on here and share a little bit about your journey. And so welcome.
Good to connect with you again. It's been a couple months, so.
And do you mind just sharing a little bit about who you are, a bit about your business and kind of how you got to where you are today?
And I'm born and raised in Hawaii, and I moved to San Diego for school. After college, I just laid roots here and just never moved back home. So when I started my spray tan business, naturally you would imagine how my Hawaiian family was like, a spray tan business? Like what? Why don't you just go in the sun, So they didn't, they couldn't comprehend it, but after some time they realized like it's a good thing. It's been a good thing. So, my whole journey started because my daughter's a competitive dancer, and although she's a fits for competition season takes place like January through February or January through March for the most part. And while she's a fairly deeply melanated girl, during the winter, she loses that warmth. And so dancing in a leotard or under stage lights, she just kind of loses all that warmth. And we realized like despite her skin type, she still needed to tan for competition season. And so we would take her to like the local booth tans or whatever. And um, her tans just never looked great. They never looked natural. She just looked dark and washed out, but it wasn't complementary to her skin type. So taking my biology background from UC San Diego, I was like, I can figure this shit out, I was like, I can figure it out. And so I did, all the research and everything. And then I started tanning her. And from there, I started tanning her teammates, then her old studio friends. And fast forward to today, my business is about 6 or 7 years old. So fast forward to today, I travel across the country for college nationals where I tan a whole bunch of teams from different states. And it's become my niche. And even though that is my niche, I still also get the brides that come through. I get the everyday, couples who are going on vacation. So I still get all of that clientele, but I would say my niche is competitive athletes. So that's kind of how the journey all took place. And fast forward now, my daughter is a professional dancer and she lives in LA. So we opened a studio for her there, and she tans a bunch of the Laker girls. And I have a studio here in San Diego. We've got an airbrush room. We've got a booth tan room for those who don't want to be topless or nude. They have that modesty and that option. There's also a lower price point with that. And so, yeah, we've got a couple different procedure rooms here, and it's been a fun and great journey being able to do what I enjoy and leave the corporate world, which is where I was, full time several years ago. So it's been a fun journey.
I want to touch on that. So for anybody who might be in the sunless industry or in the beauty industry and they're currently in the corporate world or some type of situation where they're not feeling fulfilled or whatever the case may be, what was it like? What was that moment where you finally decided to take that leap of faith and go full time in your business?
Multiple times. And then I had to, for some one reason or another, rein it back in. So, initially when I started my business, I tanned out of a guest suite that had, private room, private restroom, and everything like that. And my intention wasn't to leave my corporate job. It was just something I was doing because I picked up a bunch of, teammates from my daughter and whatnot. And then it grew pretty quickly from there. I would say, starting a community, working within your community, your name tends to grow pretty quickly. So establish yourself within your community for one. But from there, I was ready to sign a lease on a new place. Had a contractor come out, give me tenant improvement estimates and whatnot. And then this was maybe around February 28th, 2020. And my husband had already been seeing what was going on in other countries, right? So he's like, I'm not comfortable with us signing this lease. And so obviously I was like dramatic and I was like, you don't support me. You don't love me. And he was like, no, we just can't sign a lease. Like, look at what's going on in other countries. So reined it back in and they just kind of stayed put out of my studio, my home studio for a while. And then once things opened back up, I moved into a commercial space, a small studio. Was there for less than a year before I started looking for another transition, out. But that moment of being able to go have faith in yourself, bet on yourself, and just know that things are going to be okay. It was such a relief. I can't even tell you how much happier I am today. I was good at what I did in corporate world. I worked for a tech company in their finance department, and I was good at what I did, but it wasn't fulfilling. But I would just say, just keep focused on your business, continue to grow your local community, get your name out there. And once you're ready to leave your job, you might be ready sooner than you think, but once you're ready, it really is the best and most fulfilling time. You might have moments where it might be scary because things might be a little slow, but that's okay. You take those slow months or weeks or whatever, and you use it to do your back office stuff, get caught up on your bookkeeping, work on a marketing strategy, take some coaching courses and things like that. So even though tanning might be slow during certain periods, you should still be investing in yourself and your business during that time, and you'll still feel fulfilled. You won't be scared that you left that full-time job, So yeah, that's what I'd say. But it's an amazing feeling to be able to finally leave your corporate day job.
Yes. And I think one of the great things that you had mentioned before was that you found your niche. So I think sometimes, and it seems like your niche is really what actually got you into the industry. So for those people who are offering spray tanning, and they're like, I don't really feel like I have a niche. How would you, what advice do you have for them? Or could you share some more information specifically about the niche that you specialize in for those who are maybe looking into offering spray tanning for cheer or for dance or for large groups? Because this is really something that is completely different than a one-off spray tan that you offer, a one-off airbrush spray tan at your place or even mobile. It's completely different.
I think if you look at a lot of other sunless girls that maybe you look up to in the industry, a lot of them have some sort of niche. So for example, you are a bridal expert, right? And that weddings and bridal and those kinds of events, milestone events, that's your niche. And you still get all the one-off spray tanners or clients that aren't necessarily brides. I think it's really important to find a niche. And I would say if you don't have a niche, who are the clients that light you up? Who are the clients that you're so fascinated with? Is there an industry, that you love and you want to be a part of? I think exploring those avenues, if you're not already integrated into some sort of community and growing from there, I think it's important to just explore what your passions are. For me, it's always been athletes. I was a professional dancer for a short amount of time, before I left Hawaii. And moving out here, I fell into this niche, and so I was kind of fortunate in that sense. But if you're trying to find the niche, like who lights you up, who's your client avatar that gets you excited, and kind of going from there. And as far as if you have an interest in the world of competitive dance or bodybuilding, for example, these specialty niches, connecting with people in that industry is going to be helpful. I'm a liquid sunray certified provider here in Southern California, and I used to help Marilyn run shows in Hawaii when she did have them out there. And so networking with people who are established in those niches will be incredibly helpful in helping you grow into those niches. With dance and cheer, it's really interesting and fascinating because there is a season. And what's amazing about that is that their competitive season is during the typical slow spray tan season. So January through March is the competitive high school dance and cheer and competition season. And from there, all-star and studio competition season continues through like maybe late June, July. But there's always conventions, dance conventions going on and cheer camps and things like that. And what's amazing about it is that they have to tan pretty often between January and March for their competition season. And after that, they continue to come back to you for homecoming, for prom, for photo shoots, for team shoots, for dance camp, for conventions. They have all of these different events. And 2 years ago, I tanned my first dancer turned bride. And that was like, first of all, I felt old AF. But you know what I mean? Like they continue, you're part of their milestones throughout life. And when you're part of those milestones, like you establish a really special relationship with them, you know of all of their highlight moments in their life and stuff. So, building a community within that industry is going to be really important. And for me, I love working with dancers and cheerleaders, and it's been just a blessing for me, you know?
Amazing. And you're definitely the expert. And when I saw you at Slay the Spray do your demo for it was a demo for high volume spray tanning, and your technique is unbelievable. Tell the listeners how fast. So just to give you guys an idea, for those of you who are listening that might not be a spray tan artist, most people, we book 30-minute time slots for our spray tans, and our spray tans actually take maybe about 7 to 10 minutes approximately, depending on what you're doing and if they're new or whatever. But what is your average time frame for spraying your high volume clients, so your cheer and dance clients?
Back-to-back teams, for example. So I was just in Florida. We had 135 people to tan over 2 days. And within those 2 days, we only have like a 3-hour window on each day to tan. And so I move at a pace of about a minute 20 per person. And so that's a good saturated coat that's literally then in and out of my tent in a minute 20-ish seconds. And so I'm trying to get my daughter up to that speed as well. She's getting there, you know, but I wouldn't say never sacrifice speed or anything else and compromise your spray tan, right? Your spray tan has to be bomb, otherwise they're not going to come back. But
Sure.
eventually you can improve your time, right? And what's also helpful is that a lot of my athletes, because they're regulars, they know the routine. So once your athletes know your routine, that's one of the things, you have to have a consistent routine, because it varies between me and my daughter and whatever other person I may have contracted to help me. That's going to slow things down. You have to have a consistent routine that they know and they can predict, and they know exactly what's coming next, right? So that's going to help your speed. But get your technique down, and then from there you can increase your speed. But we have to move at that pace, because the way that dance competitions work is within a school district. You know, you might have 8 high schools, for example, or 5 high schools, and they will typically all be competing at the same regional competitions. So if I have one dance team competing, sure, I could book 20-minute time slots, but that's not going to work if I have 4 teams that are trying to book with me Thursday night before their competition. I can't do that. I won't be able to fit everyone in. And so it's really important to get your speed down, and to create kind of a special program or package for those teams. And so for that reason, I have to be able to get people in and out of my room in like 2 minutes. Undress, tan, dry, dress, 5 minutes or less, in order to get through, you know, 50 people in a night or two, So, and then in addition, you still have to be able to take care of your everyday clients, that are coming in for their Cabo tan or their Hawaii tan or the brides or whatever. So it's definitely a system, and a successful operation is going to allow you to, people will spread your name. They'll be like, oh my gosh, so and so gets us in and out. She's got after hours for us because of our schedule, and things like that. So having a system and an operation is going to have your name spread really quickly through word of mouth.
Wow, so many great tips. So obviously you can't share all of everything on here. So if anybody is like, oh my God, I love all this information, I'm getting so many more questions just listening to you, I know that you have actually created something to help support spray tan artists who are looking to dive into that specific niche. Can you share more of it?
It's intended for people who are already spray tanning, right? It's not a beginner's course how to spray tan. So if you're an existing spray tanner and you've already got your technique and all that kind of stuff, it's a good course for you. And it's basically, it teaches you how to break into the industry, how to grow. It explains kind of like the ethics and just kind of like some of the insight into the industry. Because for example, if you were to do a bodybuilding show, you can't just dive right into like a special niche without having some sort of insight to the culture, the divisions, their schedule, their stage time, and some of those expectations, right? Sure, these are everyday dark spray tan clients that you're doing as far as cheer and dance goes, but to handle the volume that this niche demands, having insight and an understanding of the industry is going to make you successful. And you'll be able to book not just individual. I know a lot of people who tan dancers here and there, but if you have 5 high schools and you've got 5 dance teams and they're all tanning for regionals this Saturday, how are you going to take care of all of them? The goal with the program is to prepare you to not just book individual dancers here and there, one-offs. It's to help you grow and to become the go-to spray tanner for your competitive community. So your entire community, how are you going to accommodate all of them week after week, month after month, to ensure that they're happy and you're meeting their expectations and getting them to meet you halfway too, because as we know, there's 50% of the work is going to be on them, right? The prep, all that stuff, right? But when it comes to high volume competitive dance and cheer, there's more than just the prep and maintenance that I expect of my clients. There's processes and procedures to the operation that they are also responsible for upholding to ensure that we can successfully accommodate all of the teams in the community and get them all in and out in a night. So the course is available on my website. We can create a discount code or something for your listeners. And it also includes, mentoring. So you get a consult call with me for when you're ready to jump in, or if you've got any questions that are kind of left lingering, I'm there for you,
Cherie's an amazing educator. She was what taught me, like I said, so many things, and just being a part of the community spray tan class community with you, I know that you go above and beyond to share and to support and to answer all of the questions that people might have. So I 100% vouch if anybody's interested to jump in and do some learning with Cherie, then you'll be in really, really good hands. And I think it's really genius, especially if your area is not really tapped in. like if there's not already spray tanners who are really specializing in that, because dance and cheer does happen all over the place. And I think there's a lot of untapped markets. So it's something that I think it's definitely worth exploring for sure. And I love that it's like off season because like you said, a lot of people are nervous, or some people have slow seasons. Like we all have slow seasons, but you've figured out a way to turn like that around by having basically like busy season all year by tapping into that niche. So that's really, really great. And it's also pretty cool that, you know, how long it would take me to spray. I think you said 135 people, how quickly you're able to hit that many people, like that many clients. And then, like you said, those people are coming back for all of those other milestones in their life. And that word of mouth grows super quick, especially when you're spraying 135 people, because their moms are there, their cousins, you know, a lot of their friends and family come to watch their events and their competitions. And, you know, it just spreads so quickly. So I think it's a really, really smart strategy for growing your spray tanning business. It's genius. Amazing. And I wanted to touch on something else because I learned about your spray tan solution at Slay the Spray this year, and I've tried it and had really good feedback. And I love the story about how it was developed. So for anybody who has not heard of your spray tan solution, and sort of the backstory is really, really interesting. So I know that you do have a background in the science. And so it makes so much sense that you have created this product. So share your journey with this development of this product and who it's really designed for.
The solution line, excuse me, is called the Latte Collection, like lattes, you know. And there was three, excuse me, there's three color bases. And I've shared this previously 2 years ago as a speaker at Slay the Spray. You do not need to know or understand or implement the use of color bases to be a successful tanner. It's not something that is critical or required. The reason why color bases are very helpful in the dance and cheer world is finding a solution that has cosmetic bronzers that can give your clients that extra depth that they need to be under stage lights is going to help you be successful, because that's what these athletes and coaches want. And so understanding color theory is going to be helpful in this sense, okay? The solution is called the Latte Collection. There is three color bases. There's matcha latte, which is an olive brown. There is chocolate, which is a deep, cool violet base. And then there's spiced latte, which is a mahogany color. Okay, so matcha and spiced are universal colors that can be used on everyone and anyone. It just depends if you like a little bit of warmth or if you like a deeper, richer tan. So matcha latte was the first one that was created. And the reason being is because, as I mentioned, we tan a lot of professional NBA dancers. And one of the most iconic dance pearl tights is called Suntan by Diva Hosiery. And it's one of the most commonly used dance tights. And it's an olive brown. And so my goal was to create something that had a little bit of that warmth in it, a little bit of those olive undertones that would be complementary to every skin type. So that's how matcha latte was born. And again, it's universal. Yeah, it's universal. And for me, I'm part Asian, and so I've got light olive skin. I can tan, but in the winter, I'm very just light and olive. And so one of the things I struggled to find was to find a brown base or a green base that didn't make me look like I was rolling around in the dust. Sometimes too much yellow made me look very unnatural and made me look just it wasn't complimentary for my skin type. And so matcha latte is a color that is very beautiful and complementary on your light olive skin girls, your girls that have golden tones. And so that is the most popular solution that is used amongst our NBA dancers. And even though they may have tried other solutions, they do tend to go back to matcha because it is a lot more complementary to their tights. And then chocolate is going to be great for your girls that like a really deep, cool brown tone. And then spice latte is what I use on pretty much. I use spice latte on every single dancer at UDA College Nationals. And their coaches absolutely love it because it's a deep, rich color that's complementary to all skin types from a fits 1 all the way through a fits 5, 6. It's beautiful. It brings out the warmth in the deeper, richer, melanated clients. It looks beautiful and complementary on your fair-skinned redhead girls. So it's a color that coaches have absolutely grown to love. And some of our clients this past year, LSU Tiger Girls, for example, they won national championship hip hop and they took 3rd place in jazz. And so I've got a bunch of pictures on my Instagram. And if you go to any of their pages and look at their tans from college nationals, there's Washington State University, UW, UC Santa Barbara, Louisiana State University, Michigan State University, just to name a few.
That's amazing. Yes, I've seen some of those pictures and their tans look flawless. So that's amazing. That's so great.
Another thing that's really important another thing that I targeted was I wanted bronzers that really could adhere and kind of outlast a couple of days of sweating and dancing nonstop and quick showers. So I always advise them short, quick, cooler showers if possible. But I wanted to ensure that those bronzers could last throughout several showers because they are competing. Usually they'll be tanned anywhere between Wednesday and Thursday, and they will compete all the way through Sunday. So it's important that those bronzers could kind of withstand that kind of active lifestyle and whatnot. Another thing is because I'm tanning in such high volume, the solution is unscented. It doesn't have a strong smell or anything like that. It barely has a DHA smell to it, if at all. And it also addresses BO. So,
Because you're saying lots of sweating. We know what happens,
As most tanners know, BO happens to some and not all. But for those who it does happen to, like, it's really, really, it's something that a lot of people are really self-conscious of, and it can really be a deterrent for people who have tried it once and they're like, no, never again. That's not for me. So the solution was created with like odor addressing technology, I guess you could say. So one of the things that I noticed was when I was on one type of birth control, this might be TMI, but I'm going to share. When I was on one type of birth control, I never got BO. I didn't even need to wear deodorant. And then when I switched to a birth control that had a slightly higher level of estrogen in it, I started experiencing it. And I was like, oh, shit, this is the BO body funk that people talk about, And so I knew that was something that I wanted to address because it's, a lot of times people who experience spray tan BO, their underarm, their armpits, there's different type of sweat glands, and it tends to be a higher pH. And with that higher pH, bacteria can thrive in those environments. Then you add the disaccharide from the solution, the sugar molecule, and the bacteria is like buffet, they're just like eating that up and just it gets worse, right? So one of the things that I'm also working on a prep spray that is also going to address spray tan BO as well, because I make it myself in-house and I use it and it significantly helps. But lowering the pH of the area creates an environment that bacteria can't thrive in. So lowering the pH is going to be one thing. And that's another reason why I use prep spray on everyone, because it helps with the smell. If you have natural skin bacteria and you develop more body odor than others, that pH prep is going to help minimize that comfort zone for bacteria. And so with this solution, it has odor encapsulation technology, if you will. Basically, it's attracted to odor molecules and it encapsulates them. So we're not masking odor with fragrance or anything like that. It just encapsulates the odor molecule and minimize the issue of odor and smell. So I had to put my bio degree to use. Like I had to put it to use one way or another, at some point in my life.
I think it's genius because a lot of people have said, oh, they don't like spray tanning because of the smell. So I think you've addressed and hit all of those issues. And also, yes, the spray tan solution was birthed out of some of the issues that you faced in the dance and cheer community, but that doesn't mean that the solution is not versatile, because I can already think how great that would be for brides, how great that would be for people going on vacation. So we're addressing some other different, really it could be great for anybody who wants a spray tan, because all of those factors could come into play. And because it is a rapid solution, you still have the option to have a lighter color or darker color depending on, the need of your specific client. So I think that, so it's great. It's very versatile. So if somebody wanted to get hands on this, now that they're like, yep, I need that, how can they reach out to you to get more information about that, about your solution?
www.minttans.com. And the solution is there. There's also a contact me section. So you can reach out to me there. You can order solution there. There's a whole section that talks about like the science behind it. And I know that sometimes I get like so excited about the science that I just go and go and go and go and I lose people. But you can skim through the website and read through what you find fascinating and skip over the stuff that's like just too much.
Well, okay, here are my Coles Notes version, the excitement about solution. I love that it's rapid. I love that it has the reduction of spray tan BO. I love the variety of colors, and I liked the fade and the longevity of the solution. So that's my personal experience with the products that I've tried with your solution. So that's my Coles Notes version. You don't want to read through all the science unless you're a science nerd, then dig into it, because I think the more informed you are about the products and why, you'll become more in love with it too. And then also your clients will also become in love with it. Yes, at the end of the day, it's about the end result, but when you educate them and teach them about why it's different and why it's better and why you've selected and customized this specific product for them, then they feel like an even more enjoyable experience for them. I think so, right? Yes.
Spray tan BO isn't sexy. Nobody wants to talk about that, So, I have some clients that are very open about it, and they're like, "Oh, I get spray tan BO. Is that normal?" And I'm like, "It is normal, but there's something we can do about it now." And so when I started asking clients that didn't bring it up, I'd ask them, "Hey, by chance, do you ever experience spray tan BO?" And some of them are like, "No, not at all." I'm like, "Wow, bless your heart. You're so lucky. You have no idea." And then a lot of other clients is like, "Oh yeah, all the time." But they've never brought it up over the years, so you'd be surprised how many people experience it. And if you can, improve that experience for them, I mean, just imagine the people who have tried it and they've never gone back to it, so preventing that downside, that one downside to spray tanning, if you can improve that, you might never lose a client to BO again,
Yeah, that's a great tip. Amazing. Okay, I want to switch gears a little bit right now and talk a little bit about some things for yourself. So when it comes to keeping yourself motivated? Because you've, really grown and created a really beautiful business. So what is maybe one motivator that continues to allow you to keep showing up for your business when you're struck with challenges or setbacks, or, when you weren't able to get, that space or whatever? Like, how do you stay moving forward in your business, especially as like the industry changes, new people, competitors pop up, all these different things happen in our industry? So how do you keep going? How do you keep showing up when you don't feel showing up?
Be like a odd, like a weird way to answer this question, but my way that I stay motivated is by giving myself a break whenever I feel like I need it. And so, um, I don't know, like the answer people might have wanted might have been like, oh, you do this and you self-help books and this. I take naps. I take naps. I give myself a break. I give myself time to rest and recover when I'm feeling exhausted and burnt out and things like that. That is so incredibly important. I've learned to ensuring that you don't burn out. Give yourself the time to rest and recover. Um, don't beat yourself up during slow periods of work. Use that time to get caught up on administrative stuff. Like I said, think about marketing plans and things like that. But honestly, like the way that I keep going is when I feel like I'm burning out, I give myself a break. And then outside of that, just I think it's important to delegate and hand off things that you don't enjoy doing. So that's one way you can stay motivated is by delegating the things that don't bring you joy. And that's not going to be one of those things that bring you down. And so that was one of the things that was really helpful in the program that I took with you, Pam, your program. It helped me slow down, pump the brakes for a moment, and think about the things that I needed to get off my plate in order to enjoy being a business owner and to ensure that I can continue to motivate myself without having that nagging feeling of social media obligations and this and this and, bookkeeping and things like that. So I would say to motivate yourself, give yourself grace and give yourself a break when you need it, and delegate things that you don't enjoy doing.
That's perfect. You were saying yesterday, like, my husband was away and I just chilled on the couch all day. And I was like, sometimes we just need to do. So let's give
Yeah.
yourself permission to have a break. So don't quit. Have a break. Rest. It's okay to rest. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. See that? Every once in a while, if I've got time in between clients, I no shame saying I will take a short little nappy nap and give myself, if I need to, I will take a nap if needed, So yeah.
Yeah. Listen to your body, right? Yeah. Okay. I have another question. So anyone listening, if you could save them heartache, lost time, lost money, what's one lesson you wish you never had to learn that maybe you could share with others so that way they don't have to learn the hard way like you did?
Okay, so two things. If you are still manually booking your appointments and people are still calling and texting you all the time, I can't even tell you the amount of anxiety was like lifted from my chest when I got an online booking system. So if you don't already have a website or even just an online booking system, get that. It is so, so worth the investment. There are free options out there. And then, there's other options with more expensive tiers, and it offers all different bells and whistles. So if you don't already have a booking system and a website where people can go to answer their own questions with your frequently asked section, do that. That's the first thing that I recommend. The second, oh God, what was I going to say? I had two things. The second is, in the beginning, when you're starting your business, a lot of times your skill set is there already, but your confidence isn't there yet. And so sometimes, when you're early on in your career, you tan clients, maybe you text them to find out how their tan developed and you don't hear from them. And so what do? You self-sabotage and you're like, oh my God, she didn't get back to me. Why? Was it not good? Don't do that to yourself, first off. But if you don't already have a full-length mirror in your studio to have your clients inspect their tan before they leave, I highly recommend doing that. I've never, knock on wood, I've never had a complaint because after I'm done tanning every single client, I tell them, go ahead and inspect your tan, make sure everything's even. If there's anything that you need fixed, let me know. And so they look and they check themselves out. They're like, oh my gosh, it's perfect. And so the next day, if they text you and they're like, hey, I'm not sure what happened, but my armpit is whatever, something. You can say, well, your spray tan was perfect before you left. When you inspected your tan, let's troubleshoot and see what might have happened either during your prep or while your tan was developing. And so it's kind of like a nice way to reassure yourself that they did inspect their tan. And then even for them, they know that they inspected their tan. They know their tan was perfect when they left. And somehow between them leaving and them rinsing, something got funky, right? And so, so I highly recommend that because, like I said, it's just really like a nice little way to reassure yourself, reassure your clients that they left looking flawless. And then from there, you can figure out like, oh, sounds like you had sweat your tan or something to that effect, right? But those are the two like really simple things that I think will go a really long way is website with a frequently asked questions section so people aren't texting you at all hours of the day, with a booking site so they can manage their own appointment, book it themselves, cancel, reschedule themselves, and then have that full-length mirror to give yourself and your clients that assurance that their tan looked great before they left your studio.
Yes, I 1,000% agree with both of those. Great tips. And finally, I always like to ask my guests if you have a favorite affirmation, quote, mantra that you live by or that you're currently, living by.
Mantras or quotes kind of change throughout whatever I'm going through in life or work or whatever it might be. So I wouldn't say I have any favorite quotes or anything at the moment. I think I think betting on yourself, believing in yourself is critical. I think not assuming that you're being judged by the outside and holding yourself back because you're afraid of being judged. I think those types of quotes always are good reminders, to help you kind of like push through and overcome and things like that. But I don't have a quote I can think of off the top of my head.
That's okay. Best bet is to bet on yourself. I love that one. Amazing. Well, thank you so much. This was great connecting with you and so many good tips and information. So once again, if anybody, I will put everything in the show notes, but if you want to go say hello, where's the best place that people can reach you, can chat with you, connect with you, learn more?
Yeah, so my email is cherie@minttans.com. You can always email me there. You can DM me on Instagram. Probably not Facebook Messenger because a lot of times if we're not already friends or connected, those emails get dumped into some mystery box somewhere. So I would say Instagram or email me would be best.
Thank you so much for joining. And I hope to connect. Actually, we'll be connecting with you soon again. Thanks, Cherie.
All right. Take care. Bye. Thanks for having me.